Hola chicos! I'm Christian and I'm moving to Spain. This video will be about why I moved to Spain. And why not? So that's it. Subscribe and like the video. No, of course not. So, why move to a new country? Well, why move from your home country? And when you move, you have more than 200 countries to choose from other than your own. So why choose one specific country? Like Spain, why this one? Why this exact one? Why is that the best one in the whole world for you? Well, let me explain why it's the best one for me. And to do that, I'm go all the way back to when I was 2 years old and traveled to Italy for the first time. Well, that's not Spain, you say, but I'm coming to that. I have not been in Spain at that point, so I didn't know anything about that, of course. But I cannot remember a lot from back when I was 2 years old. And that's partly because I've been in Italy 17 times, as what I've counted at least. And that's between I was 2 years old and 15 years old. I've been to Italy every single year, sometimes twice a year. So I don't remember a lot from, especially when I was 2 years old. Not for sure at least. But I probably remember back from when I was like 5, 6, something like that. Because I remember a lot from when I was a little kid and went to Italy the first time. I thought it was the first time, but like one of the first times, and I just fell in love with the country immediately. I've always thought that Italy was an amazing country, and of course it helped that I didn't went to school and I was on vacation. But it was not just that. I feel like it's not the most important thing. I feel like it was more like the culture. It was more like Italy by itself that really made the whole difference. And I really liked the nightlife, the business of the streets of the city. And as a kid too, remember, it was nice for a kid. It's a business that's nice for a kid. It's not busy in a bad way, like it's stressful because of work. It's busy and not totally drinking place where people get too drunk and so on. Not busy in that way, but more like cozy, chill, people enjoying themselves and just enjoying life. Kind of busy. There's always something happening in the streets, but it's not happening fast. It's happening slowly, but there's always something happening. So you can be doing something all the time, but you just do it in a chill tempo. And I really liked that, I think. So just went to the street, you walk one step at a time, look around, let you distract by the city, and didn't think about what you should do. You didn't prepare before you leave home, you just leave, and then you let you inspire by the city and do whatever you feel for when you feel for it. And just walk slowly through the city until you find an entertainment thing you want to do. So I really like that way of business in the cities. It's just a whole other way than what I was used to, and I've never seen anything like it in Denmark. So I've always loved Italy for that fact. And of course I like the food too. I've always been a sucker for food, even when I was a little kid, and for good quality food. And the food in Italy is amazing. And the weather too, I've not even mentioned, but of course that's important. I think that's a big factor. Was a big factor for me when I was a kid. That it was just always nice weather. I like that. It was hot, and I like to be sweating. And that's why I also love the pool and the beach, and we have both, so that's nice. I like to swim and bath and just everything with water. Like to be in the water all the time, so that's a big factor too of us, and that's also something that just made my life better in Italy when I was a little kid. And I think the sheer nature you see in Italy, that just made me happy. So after Italy, I have been in other countries also in the period. when I was in Italy, I've been in Germany, Austria, Switzerland real fast because I was trying to see. I've been just inside of Sweden because of other reasons, and I've been in Czech Republic real fast, and something special, and then I have been to Amsterdam. That was actually my first trip without my parents, but it was a school trip, so it kind of makes sense I have not my parents with me. So it's not my first trip on my own, I will say. But that means I have been in Amsterdam, in Holland, Netherlands, whatever you call it, before I went to Spain, and that's where it happened. The next year, I traveled for the first time without my parents, and it was with my sister. So well, moving slowly away from family area, but only slowly. But we chose together. It's not just me, but she wanted to. But we agreed on taking a trip to Barcelona in Spain. So that was the first trip I chose on my own, and not totally on my own again, but the first real free choice traveling vacation thing, whatever you want to call it, I was on in my life. And it happened to be Barcelona in Spain. I have never been in Spain before. Actually, I had only one time with my parents when I was a real little kid. We've been on the island of Gran Canaria, but I only remember like 1 second from that when I was on a balcony. I still remember that, but that's like the only thing I remember. So not so special, but the first time for real I can actually remember. That was the first time I was in Spain, in Barcelona, in Spain, yeah. And when I stepped out of the airport in Barcelona, I fell in love with the city immediately. And we actually traveled there more to I go to Lloret de Mar, if you know that city. It's a smaller, busy party city that's located kind of close to Barcelona. And we spent most of our time there, and then we took back to Barcelona to get the plane. So we were only in Barcelona for a few days. And then after that, did I say that Lloret de Mar was even more amazing? In my opinion, that I loved it even more. So that immediately became my number one city I've ever been in, my happy place in the world. And then after I got home, I actually went on a school trip to Barcelona again, and it was not me that chose it. It was just happening, destiny, I guess. So quite fun. I didn't know that, and that's just funny. It's the exact same city of all the cities in the world. 200 countries, even more cities, hundreds of countries or cities in every country, like millions of cities in the world, and you choose the same city as I have chosen. Spain's way life is sometimes, but then I was in Barcelona again, but this time it was only in Barcelona, so I got a full week there and get to experience it fully. And then I discovered that it was maybe too much of a big city for me. I didn't love it nearly, not even close as much as I loved Lloret de Mar. But then after that, I've been traveling a little bit more amongst Europe, and then I will skip right quickly forward to when I was on Interrail with my girlfriend back in 2017 to 2018. And then we traveled mostly all over Europe. Half of the countries I have been in Europe comes from that trip. I've been into 19 countries in Europe, so most of the countries in Europe by now. I have only been in Europe until now, at least, so I have been in these 19 countries in Europe and nothing else. But that's also a lot of countries, I think. And then we started in Germany and traveled from there with the Interrail pass in a month in a lot of cities. After the Interrail pass ended, I'm not quite sure when it ended, and precisely how it was, but I think we traveled to another country after it ended, and then we stayed there for a week or something, and then we traveled to Spain. And the reason for that is actually because we were preparing for traveling like 5 months or so, maybe more. We didn't knew at all because we wanted to travel for free, but we also had a lot of money. But the travel for free part, that didn't happen so well. So the lot of money we had didn't went so long anyway. So after being on Interrail for more than a month and being in another city for 1 to 2 weeks more, we have almost run out of money. So we were actually starting discussing if we should just go directly to Spain or if we should take another or 2 cities before hitting Spain, because Spain was always an end destination for our traveling around Europe. And that's because both of us loved Spain. Like my girlfriend haven't been to Spain like for real. Did she even step a foot inside Spain before she took an Interrail? I'm not sure, but she also have been to Italy. I love that, but the problem with Italy is kind of it's not perfect regarding jobs and the opportunities and money in general. It's kind of a problem in Italy. And there Spain are a direct competitor because the climate is the same, temperature mostly the same, and the culture is mostly the same. So not make anyone angry, but the real big difference between Italy and Spain are mostly just that Spain has better job opportunities. So Spain is kind of like the better part of Italy. But that's just our opinion. It's not to talk bad about Italy. It's still like the second best country in Europe, I think. So still a great country, and I love traveling to Italy again. But again, we were talking about actually moving to Spain before going into it, but not like for real, just like casual talking about it. Like we actually took the Interrail for many reasons, kind of, because we wanted to go on Interrail, first thing first. We wanted to travel together for a long period of time, and for the longest period of time in both of our lives. But we also want to discover if there was some country we liked living in more than we liked living in Denmark. But it was more like a B or C side to the story. Like the main part was just traveling, the main part was trying the Interrail thing. But there was a B or C side, or how many priorities down it was. There was another very important thing down the priorities, that was checking the countries out and finding out which country we want to move to. If we want to leave Denmark, I wanted to move to another country in Europe. And in that regard, when we talk about that, because we talked about that before we left, we talk about that we think, without being in any other countries, of course we have been in some of the countries, but without being in all the countries in Europe, we think that Spain is our number one priority right now. So therefore we want to leave that to last, so we can experience the other countries firsthand and get a feeling for them, and then go to Spain afterwards, and then make a direct comparison there and see if Spain was so beautiful as we remember in our mind, or if it actually was another country I've been inside. So back to the story. With that in mind, when we was in Hungary, we talked about going directly to Spain because we had to make Spain, and we don't know how long the money will take, and the money disappears faster and faster. So, but we still have some, but we also want to be in Spain a lot. So when we have like half the money left, we were still like, we need to go to Spain now, because we wanted to be in Spain at least for a month, and hopefully longer. Like we were talking about at least a month, but maybe more, multiple months, depends on how long the trip it will be. Maybe the rest of our life if we decide being there for real, moving there, But yeah, so we traveled to Spain because we didn't discuss it for long because we were both sure we want to make it to Spain, and we were not sure if we could make it if we traveled to another country beforehand. So therefore we traveled directly to Spain, and in that regard we traveled to Barcelona first. For some reason, I'm not even sure. I think I wanted to show her Barcelona and Lloret de Mar because we traveled to Barcelona, and then we actually stayed there for no, only think we stayed there a night actually. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's it. And then we traveled to Lloret de Mar, and then we stayed there for a week or something like that. Oh no, and I got to show her Lloret de Mar, but it was not the summertime, it was actually the winter time this period. It was actually Christmas time in Lloret de Mar, and that was something totally else than summertime. So I got to see it from two different sides. To see it in the summer is not hard because you can find pictures of the summertime business partying on the internet, but the winter time was very interesting to discover. And then we went back to Barcelona, and then we stayed there for a few days. And then we went to Malaga, by plane at least, but we actually went straight to Benalmádena. We only took a plane to Malaga, but we actually bought an Airbnb in Benalmádena. So then we traveled there. And that was when we really got amazed. Because that was even more beautiful than Barcelona and Lloret de Mar, like put together. And it was from the first second, it was jumping on top of my list of all cities I have been in the world up until now. And my girlfriend thought the same thing. And we were living in this Airbnb, and it was very apartment-like, the most apartment-like Airbnb we got. Or we got other apartment-like Airbnb, but it was really nice. A good location, a good view, and it feels so homely to be inside. So I was thinking that I will not even have a problem with living in that apartment the rest of my life. Like, it was not extremely big, but it was bigger than the one we had home. But we actually didn't have an apartment home because we only moved out after we went back from Interrail. So that's not true, but it was even bigger than the apartment we moved to after Interrail. So it was big enough apartment, not too big, not amazingly big, but bigger than the cheap one we got in Denmark. So then we discovered Benalmádena, and it was still the winter time. It was January now, and we discovered like the whole of January we were in Benalmádena, and then we were. It was not so. It was still busy. It was actually way more busy than Lloret de Mar and Barcelona at that point in time in the winter, and that's maybe because Costa del Sol, which is the part of Spain where Benalmádena is inside of. Costa del Sol is the south coast of Spain, and Benalmádena is to the south coast. So then you got a brief explanation of that. And in Costa del Sol, many expats live. Like when people move to Spain, they mainly move to Costa del Sol. Where Barcelona and Lloret de Mar, not so many expats live. A little bit in Barcelona, but Lloret de Mar is only native Spanish, and there live very few people because it's mostly hotels to the summer times. So in the winter time, it's just a dead city, and in the summer it's busy. So it's just a little cozy dead city in the winter time, where Benalmádena is still busy in the winter because it's expats. So, and it's warm in the winter because it's the south coast of Spain, not in the north. So it's way hotter than the other cities we have been in Spain. So there's many reasons why there's more busyness in the winter. And very touristy area too, but also very expat area. So when you put tourists and expats together, you get a lot of busyness all year round. Like expats make it busy all year round, and tourists make it very, very busy in the summer, you know. So we got to experience a lot of busyness, actually, even though it was January, and we like that busyness, like the amount of business. We really like that. It was not too much, not too little. It could be a bit more busy, it will not be a problem, but it should not be like much more busy. To be honest, we don't know how busy it gets in the summertime, so we don't know if too busy or much more busy. But in the wintertime, we like living there. And we like living there way more than we like living in Lord de Mar in the wintertime. It was too dead for us. Nothing happened. Where Benalmádena was never boring. So we immediately wanted to live there way more than we want to live in any other place. And I really mean any other place because we also compared to the other countries and cities we have been inside of in Europe, and nothing could compare to Benalmádena. So again, we I cannot speak. We just really fall in love with Benalmádena, and we wanted to move there. We actually went to Fuengirola, which is kind of the city besides it, for a while too, a week or two or something, and look at that city. But that was still an amazing city, but not as nice as Benalmádena. So we were actually ready to move to Atlèticos del Sol. We were not too strict about the city, but around Benalmádena and the cities around that, they were really nice. All of them were nice enough for us, and we got a job actually in Fuengirola. That's actually why we moved there. But then we lost the job because it was some shit, and it didn't really went too well. If you want to hear about that, ask me in the comment. I can make a video about that, but also we just skip right through it. And that means that we were running out of money, and because we lost our job, the job was our last opportunity to actually stay there, because we could barely make it to the payment will roll in. But when we lost our job, no payment will roll in. So we tried to find a new job for like a few days, 2 to 4 maximum, and then we gave up and was like, we have not money enough to be living here anymore, so we need to take a plane home quite soon. So that's what we did, and we went home. Now it became 2018, almost February 2018, and we went home from our Interrail and from Spain. And after that, in the last 4 years, I have been really eager to move to Spain again, and I have been preparing to move to Spain in the last 4 years. I have learned Spanish for these 4 years. I started when I was in Spain back then, and continue when I go back home, and I have practiced Spanish almost every single day after that. But there have been some period with breaks, so I guess for 2 years I have done it every single day, you can say, every second day for 4 years, something like that. That's the average, I think. But also I have been researching a lot about Spain, a lot about different cities in Costa del Sol, and a lot about Madrid lately. And I've just really wanted to move to Spain all day, all up to now. So now I'm studying at the university in Denmark, as you know from other videos. See them if you want to know more details. I've made a lot of videos about the university, but therefore I can go on exchange. So I still studying at the university for another year, but I can take the last year on exchange. And I got opportunities as Barcelona, Valencia and Madrid. I have been to Barcelona, don't like Barcelona too much, so don't want to live there for a year, and don't want to see any more of it. Valencia, I know a lot of people that want to see Valencia and actually want to travel with me on vacation to Valencia, so that will not be too hard to see. Madrid, however, is harder to get people to take with you on vacation to, because there's no beach, and people want a beach when you go on vacation, so there's no people I know that want to travel with me to Madrid. And I love to see Valencia, but not as much as Madrid. And Valencia I can get to see another time, but Madrid I maybe never got the opportunity to see, and I've always loved to see Madrid. I have wanted to see Madrid in such a long time. So therefore it was not a hard choice. I chose Madrid. So there was a university in Madrid where I could study, and I have tried to get in that university, and it seems like I have got in now, and I get to study in Madrid. And therefore I moved to Madrid, and I'm actually happy about moving to Madrid and see a city for the first time and trying to live there for at least a full year plus. Maybe I stay there after that, maybe move to another part in Spain. I guess I will stay there for at least 2 to 4 years. I don't know, it's too long in the future. I'm not thinking too much about the future. But I will stay there for a big period of time for now, and the longest period I've been in Spain will be the city. Outside Denmark, I will have been inside. It will actually be the city outside this city I'm sitting in right now. I have been inside for the most time in my life. In a year from now, when I've lived there for a year. I've mostly been in that city. I've not lived in any other city than this one for more than a year in my whole life. So that's amazing. That's gonna be interesting. So if you wanna follow that trip, then remember to subscribe to my channel. Look at my other videos. I have always a lot of videos up already. A lot of videos up. You can see videos about a lot of things about Spain, but I will come more videos up soon. So if you like this video, then like it, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.